Or no, if R2D2 got taken apart in Return of the Jedi in Cloud City, I would know that you're full of shit because R2D2 was not the one that got taken apart. It was C3PO. But people who aren't that dialed in to this is where your law, this is your niche area of law, right? Who aren't that dialed in, we would just go right past because it would sound plausible. It would sound like part of the story. It
Yeah, I
actually
mean,
did
I would be
happen. The
like,
same thing
sure,
happened. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
that's what
sure,
happened.
R2D2 got taken apart. But anybody, of course, your Star Wars people will come in and go, are you freaking kidding me? Hey, everybody. We are back for week. Oh my God, it's February. Wow.
And
Hey,
apparently we
welcome
got
to.
the blue memo. We're both wearing blue.
Oh, yeah. I'm wearing my SEO blue shirt. There we go. Blue 7. I got my blue 7. She's got her plan forward background over there, or whichever
Yeah.
side she's on when this happens to be published. Hey, folks, Victoria sent me an article last week that it's made me think a lot more, and this has been an issue from the beginning. When we said it was going to be an issue when AI first came out, about AI showing up in court cases, in the courtroom, or in court documents. Victoria, you sent me an article. Can you tell me a little bit about that article, and then we'll just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So this article has AI generated fake content, mars legal cases, states want guardrails. So I think it's just a continuing conversation. I think we had covered a blog, I think now that it's 2026, 2 years ago,
Might have
when
been
this
more than
probably
that,
for like a
honestly.
year and a half, regarding what is the one the ABA's stance on AI and what they are doing to mitigate. So in case you don't know, the American Bar Association is the group of professionals that kind of set out the rules and ethics
Right.
for us attorneys. So they are what governs our practices. They are what gives us the guide that we need when new things in our field arise. And not many new things arise, right? So in our field, when we say new things arise, we mean like new laws or new policies, new regulations that are going to affect our strategy, going to affect how we conduct our advice. So it was natural and understanding for the ABA to come out with these AI policies. Many of the original policies were more along the lines of not necessarily not using AI, but very much cautioning and to the point of saying, it's just not a good look if you use this AI.
Yeah.
We know the pervasiveness of these AI companies and these legal tech software. So this piece that I brought to the table is just furthering that conversation and asking, once again, another judge is finding that on his bench there is a motion that is maybe not a brief that is full of cases that do not exist. To the point where he was
Right.
shocked. He went to a library, actually got hard books
Yeah. The
to
judge
make
actually
sure.
saw where it was supposed to be cited from, and he did his due diligence all right. He
Yeah,
went, y'all
literally did
playing
his
with
due
judges.
diligence. The judge itself, not its clerk, the judge
No,
themselves,
he went to the library.
which means that they were very concerned. And it also
Rightfully so.
means that, one, I still find this interesting that there's a judge that was alarmed, which just means that there's a lot of legal tech noise, especially in our field, right? We see it a lot, but we're in
Hmm.
a different position. A lot of people don't get that noise as much as we
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
So
we're in a bubble. We're in a
we're
bubble
in a
of
bubble.
like, this is kind of our life.
Yeah. So, it is just like a little indicator that, hey, there are still people in the legal community that are just not privy or are just not in the sphere of this big AI legal tech shadow, to the point where they're being surprised. So in this piece, they're just talking about kind of we understand that this software isn't going anywhere, but what we need to focus on now is processes and guardrails for how and when these softwares can be used. And I don't believe, and people feel free to call me out, whoever's watching this, Ellen, you can call me out too. It still doesn't resolve the issue of like responsibility and liability. It still falls on the attorney. And granted, it should because we're the ones providing. And it even provided some insight into, the judge was actually stated, if I can find his quote, but he was talking about the task force wanted to emphasize that as judges, what we bring to the table is our humanity, and we cannot abdicate our humanity in favor of an AI generated decision or opinion. And I thought that was
Hmm.
such, if we are reliant on AI content as lawyers, meaning if we are relying on these softwares to create our briefs, to strategize our case, when is it that a judge is going to then rely on AI to make their opinion? And what are the
So it's just AI,
implications?
AI is talking to one another with someone else's humanity at stake.
I mean, yeah, and it's just I think it's interesting because AI kind of I'm like thinking of images, it's like a slowly rising flood, right? Like, AI covered the floor we'll just say legal marketing, right? Like we're like, oh,
Mm.
that was easy for it to saturate. And now it's getting into like paralegal legal assistance, that was easy to saturate. And now it's like coming into how lawyers prepare documents and how they, submit documents, right? So that's kind of coming in. So now judges are like, is it gonna flood us? Like, are we now like, why hire a judge when you can hire a software that reads all the briefs and then it's gonna spit out what it
Technical
should do
arbitrator.
after historically looking at all these cases, And so it's just it's really fascinating. I mean, I'm super nerdy, I get it about it, but it is really fascinating. And I think it's just another just giant red flag that the legal community is trying to petition here.
Can I ask you this though? Obviously, it's helpful. You and I both have our own ways that we use AI.
Correct.
We talk about it a lot and we share, what works for me and what works for you. And I think that's a good thing to do. We talk about the ethics of using it for certain things. My question for you is this, I have faith that you would use it responsibly, but would this be more helpful to attorneys in my mind? I'll just tell you where I'm going. An attorney that's seasoned, that has been looking at this stuff for a long time, has been practicing, is going to be more capable of immediately spotting some of the hallucinations or just false information that the AI puts out. So they might, if they look, that right, that's part of the diligence. So that's where it falls back on the attorney. So I'm just assuming that it can be a powerful amplifier for attorneys that are already deep into the job. My worry, and I want to see what you think about this, is the up and coming new lawyers. I mean, we can call. You're a newer lawyer. In this, as you have lived, you have come up, you started law school before ChatGPT dropped. You finished law school after it was done. And now you are establishing your career as an attorney as the entire legal field is shifting. So you're smack dab in the middle. So what do you think that's going to be for new lawyer? What do you think? If there's going to be a harm there, or is it going to hurt, or what has to happen to safety to make there to be a safety rails around this?
Ugh, okay. So I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine who's in big law, and obviously not going to name any names here. One, I know for a fact that big law is curbing their hiring of junior associates, and is so junior associates usually come from like interns that they and law clerks that they house, during summers. So summer associates usually after a summer or two, if they get invited back, end up getting a position, and they're starting to really curb that. That's a giant red flag for
Yeah.
upcoming attorneys. Okay. I'm trying to think of an analogy. And so this is I'm gonna butcher this. So forgive me. So you walk down a cereal you walk down a cereal aisle in the grocery store. Honey Nut Cheerios, Fruit Loops, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the brand, that brand cereal, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are classics, right? Like those are the foundational cereals.
Okay.
Okay. From those foundational cereals, there are other cereals that branched from it, right? So like
Yeah.
the almond oat one or the Reese's Pieces one, Cocoa Puffs, right? Like
Yeah.
Fruity Puffs, like all those kind of derived from these, foundational cereals.
Cheerios, Rice Krispies, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Those were like the core. So in law, like the cereal aisle, you learn those foundational pieces. When you niche down into your field or area of law, you start to learn aggressively the foundation. Because when it comes to law, no matter how old the case is, that opinion is still relevant to this day. It's different than other areas of research and practice, which that's another conversation. But in law, those foundational cases, those opinions are still, unless that opinion was overridden, which
Right.
those then create the other serials, right? Those
Got
are
it.
the
Okay.
web of cases, right, that have then refined what those foundational opinions were. How do you become effective and efficient in your area of law?
Mm.
You can talk about those foundational pieces in the dark, right? Like the back of your hand, you know them. And because you know them, you then understand the web of cases that sprung from those foundations in that area. So when you go down that cereal aisle and you notice like a breakfast bar, you're going to be like, what is that breakfast bar doing in this
Yeah.
aisle of cereal?
Or how did the ramen get over here in the middle of this cereal section? Like what?
So the reason why I say breakfast bar as opposed to a real like random light
Oh,
ramen is
because it's
because
still the same kind of idea.
still the same
Still,
idea, but transformed.
it could sound right to someone who's just glancing over.
To the nascent eye, it's still breakfast. It's
Yeah.
still
Okay.
oats. It's still, it's just a different form, right? So to a nascent eye, it's hidden. It's like, okay, like it's breakfast, sure. Let's just throw it in the cart, right? But to a seasoned eye, I'm like, what the hell is that breakfast bar doing in our cereal aisle? Get it out of here.
It would be like this. Okay, so okay, a good example.
Do you
This is
see what
I'm a
I'm
nerd out.
saying? Do you see what
No,
I'm
yeah, no. Let me nerd out for a sec. All right, so
yeah,
if I'm someone's telling me a story about this movie called Star Wars, right? That obviously I know a decent amount about, and I
right.
love it. But not everybody. There's different levels of fandom, right? There's everybody knows what it is. Some people know the basic characters. Then some people are just in it, and they know they played the video game. So if someone told me that C-3PO got taken apart in Return of the Jedi, or no, if R2-D2 got taken apart in Return of the Jedi in Cloud City, I would know that you're full of shit because R2-D2 was not the one that got taken apart. It was C-3PO. But people who aren't that dialed in to this is where your law, this is your niche area of law, right? Who aren't that dialed in, we would just go right past because it would sound plausible. It would sound like part of the story. It
Yeah, I
actually
mean,
did
I would be
happen. The
like,
same thing
sure,
happened. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
that's what
sure,
happened.
R2-D2 got taken apart. But anybody, that, of course, your Star Wars people will come in and go, are you freaking kidding me? But that's like, so where do we, like, I learned all that Star Wars knowledge over the years and years, right? Where
Correct.
where where does the new Star Wars fan, where does the new lawyer, where's the new serial enjoyer come in and learn that foundational knowledge? That's my worry. I don't know where that
This
what happens.
is the biggest issue that practicing attorneys have with the implementation of these softwares. For those who care, for those who are, I'm only 3 years deep and I'm considered like past entry. I'm like mid level, attorney now. Like some just don't care, right? We're just trying to get our bag and get out. We're trying to get our bag and like understood. What's happening is, in my opinion, it's a huge disservice for a few reasons. One, if you're a mid-level attorney implementing these AI softwares, our partners are and clients, mind you, are requiring more of us because they think we're offloading our responsibilities to
Mm,
AI, which is making things easier. So they are not promoting or hiring new people to share that responsibility for us mid levels to learn how to delegate to someone younger or newer, instead
mm.
delegating to a software. So we're really cutting ourselves at the knees here because the
It's like you're
younger
taking out the
attorneys,
ladder from underneath of you. You got up there and you're
yes,
taking out the ladder.
yes, yes. And these younger attorneys are not getting access to the historical knowledge of how these things happen. We can get into a whole philosophical whatever, but it's just a little validating, although disheartening, to see the prediction that many of us have been saying with the
Yeah.
implementation of these tools.
Well, I mean, that article itself, and we'll wrap up now, but that article, over last year, it said there were what 500 cases, but that's that was known. Like, how many things went under the radar? And my another worry of that is how many things are going under the radar that won't be noticed for years down the line. Uh,
Yeah.
it's just going to be, folks. Hey, AI is here. We're all trying to figure out what's next for like our next career, and obviously, it matters for Victoria. It matters for me, and I'd be curious to hear your opinions on what you think. Anybody, what you think the next round of lawyer training is going to look like, and are law schools? Maybe we can do another video on this. Are law schools going to implement proper AI training? So that's a good,
I mean,
a
that
good.
is what the article is calling for. The article is just calling
Mhm.
for, like, continuous, and so in my head, I'm just like, I already have to do enough CLEs, and now they're gonna be, like, mandatory AI, like, how to use
Yeah.
AI guide policy. Like, I don't it's so unnecessary, but anyway.
I would love to hear the conversations, folks. If you have any ideas about where you think AI is going to take the law, write down there in the comments. You can like and subscribe. We're almost to 40. We lost a subscriber. So whoever decided not to like us, then don't come back. All right. No, I'm kidding. All right. Y'all have a good afternoon.